Hi, I'm Alan Tyndall, Lead Director for the PastorCare Network. I'd like to talk to you a few moments about the pastor's well-being. Being a pastor is unique. We often, as pastors, put our heart and soul and body in caring for others. We generally get involved pretty specifically, and that is good joy for us at times, but it can also become pain and a painful experience to us also. When things are going well in our lives, none of us need anybody to talk to or to share anything with. We don't need any assistance. But when things are not going well, that's when we need help. And if we don't have those systems set up beforehand, and as pastors generally, we don't think about it until we need it, just like anything else we do. And that's where we at PastorCare can come to be and help for you. For those of us who are in the care business, caregiving business, it's hard for us to ask for help. That's just simple fact. And so when our issues come up to the top, we need people who can help us navigate through those issues also. And PastorCare can be of help there also. As a pastor, I always appreciated someone who could understand where I was as a pastor and what I was experiencing and could offer me some good advice or just be a listener sometimes. PastorCare is that compassionate ear that we all need. And in fact, that's our mission. Wherever a pastor serves, there will be people who care, offering practical support in tangible ways. Our founder, Dr. Burt Moore, was passionate about that statement, and we've continued it on as our mission. And in regard to that, we have a team of regional and area directors around the country who are ready to provide compassionate care, first, most, and foremost, with Jesus at the center of it, and always practical. Our website at pastorcare.org has a list of where those people are located. But the pastor's well-being is always our chief concern. And we address this concern in 4 ways. Number 1, crisis care. Let's face it, pastors are not perfect people. What we didn't understand when we became a pastor was that sometimes everything that we do, no matter what it is looked at minutely, including those mistakes we make. And these minutely issues are examined and magnified and often distorted. And when they become distorted, we sometimes overreact and we get disappointed and we are disheartened. And if these are not processed, it might lead us to being disillusioned and sometimes critical. We ask ourselves, what went wrong? How did I end up where I'm at right now? And will I ever make a difference anymore, or does it matter? Pastors ask me these questions and share their stories regularly with me. Let me just share a couple with you. A pastor contacted us who was dealing with some issues in a past church, and to his credit, he was wanting not to deal with those in his new church that he was getting ready to go to. So over a period of time of just chatting and talking and praying, he went on to the new church, and he's been there some time, and he still stays in touch with us and is always thankful for that experience. Another pastor contacted us, and he was sensing that he was burning out and he couldn't do ministry any longer. So we were able to chat with him and talk with him, and if nothing else, just to get him another perspective. A pastor contacted us who was seeking direction. He was struggling with whether in a church he'd been at 8 years, been 8 years at a church, and he said, I wonder if anything's happening there. I wonder if I'm needed there anymore. And we chatted with that, and he's still there. And he's come to understand that he's still being a very loving pastor. But he needed that ear to hear what he was saying and just to process that. That's what we do at PastorCare. And believe it or not, I even had a pastor contact me about what to do with the mold in his house. And it was affecting him and his family, and also affecting his health, which was now becoming an issue for his congregation because he was having some health issues. Thankfully, we were able to work him through and walk him through, and he got some help on that situation. The toughest thing that we probably hear at PastorCare is those who've been asked to leave their church. And we're not talking about moral failures here. We understand those, and I do get some calls from time to time on that one. But most of the time, these people are just doing their job, and they don't know of anything that they've done wrong, but they've been asked to leave by the board for the good of the congregation, obviously. And sometimes these are as short as 15 months. One recently around us was 15 months, and he had no clue. He didn't understand, and most of us who know him, we don't understand. But another ones can be as 7 or 10 years, something in that range. I experienced that 7 years in my own ministry, and I'm still living in the same city and still dealing with the same people, and I had to work my way through that. And others have to work their way through it. Another one that I was just talking to the other day was after 20 years. 20 years he'd been in the congregation, and he'd been asked to leave for the good of the church. These are devastating experiences, and they're almost career-ending experiences if you want them to be that way. And thankfully, mine wasn't, and others that I want to share with, and all of us at PastorCare have gone through some similar experiences. It affects the entire family. It becomes a crisis of not only faith and the call, but a crisis of trusting God and loving people anymore and trusting them, and as well as the reality of a loss of income and a loss of purpose, perhaps, in your own life. So what do we do next? That's always the question. What am I going to do next? And we're willing to talk to people with that, and we talk to a lot of people doing that. Some have gotten new jobs. One that I talked to was able to get another job, and he was excited about that. I think he'd been in the ministry 7 years where he was at, or 10 years, excuse me. If they live in a parsonage and a housing that the church provides, this is even more devastating because now they have to move. And where do you go? We have a booklet that I've written relating to my own experiences about pastor. There's new life after a forced termination. It's available to address this situation, as well as to add some, offer some encouragement, and then some practical ways to process the experience. The most recent pastor I sent it to read it, and he found it very, very helpful. It's not in book form, but if somebody's interested in that, just let us know, and on our email you can see, on our website you can see a place to ask for something like that. Also on our website are other very encouraging articles, as well as some testimonies, some resources that might be of help to any pastor or anyone who is experiencing the journey of being a pastor. We at PastorCare, of course, are always ready to talk and pray with you and to walk you through the ministry journey. So just contact us. A second way that we help and help in the well-being is accountability, mentoring, or accountability, as you want to say. So we encourage pastors to find a group to be with, or find a mentor, or find somebody to talk with who's another pastor or just another person that's not in their congregation. And these groups need to meet on a regular basis. Probably monthly is okay. Bi-weekly is even better. Just so that you can talk shop. There's always a chance to talk shop. And I have several of those groups going that I'm a member of. And a recent pastor was looking forward to this COVID thing and stopped all of this. So he's looking forward to getting back to that. He just said, I just need that contact with other pastors to process not only what's going on in your life, if you find people who care about you, but also to see what they're going through and realize that you're not the only person that's experiencing some of these things. Pastor can be very lonely, but we don't have to make it that way. We need somebody to watch our back, to be accountable to. We need help to navigate through that, which we're navigating through. And older pastors know where those pitfalls are, so they help us to skip over them or go around them or whatever. Another way, a third way, is to getaways. All of us need regular time to rest and to refresh at least one day a week. Take your day off, plan for it, make sure it's there. God took a day off, so we ought to do that. 24/7 sounds good, but we can be on call, that's one thing, but to plan everything 24/7 means we get no rest, and God wants us to rest. So let the congregation also know that some people who will be covering for you if you need to be out of town or something a day or so. The other way, let me encourage you to take your vacations. They are important. I know that the church can't exist without you, but they can and they need to. I was talking to a pastor the other day, told me he was tired. I get a lot of that now with COVID. And I found out after talking to him, he'd been at the church for 6 years now, and he's never taken a vacation. And I said, why didn't you take it? He said, well, he takes a couple of days here and there, but he never takes off a week or 2 weeks. Another pastor I talking to has been in pastorate for 18 years, has never taken a vacation. He said, my church needs me. That's what God called me to do. I would agree with all of that, but take your vacations. Your church needs them, and you need them. And we at PastorCare can assist you in that if you just contact us. We can research for you and help you find a place that you can go. And depending on the time of the season, we might even be a little less costly. We have some people who work with us from time to time. We're not booking agents, but we can help you with that. And let your congregation know when you're going and who's going to be in charge. That's the reason you have those pastor group meetings. You have some collegial kind of people who cover for each other. One last thing that we do is we offer an opportunity for you to take a ministry styles testing for a greatly reduced price. This test helps pastors identify how they do ministries, their strengths, their weaknesses, and how best to be able to minister within these. It offers some very practical supports, showing you how to use your strengths and to understand your weaknesses and how to be able to cover for those in the best way, because God helps us cover for those. Basically, it helps pastors to understand how God has put them together and how to minister. In the leadership classes that I teach, it's a requirement for them to take that test. So we offer that on PastorCare. It's on the front page of everything that we do on our website, pastorcare.org. So go down there and follow the instructions, and you'll be on the website. And in closing, Paul tells us that two things that we probably ought to remember right now and that we need to hear. Number one, he assures us that our labor is not in vain in 1 Corinthians 15:58. And second of all, he tells us to not lose heart in 2 Corinthians 4:1. This is our prayer for every pastor, as our main concern at PastorCare is the well-being of every pastor. So contact us. We're here for you. We want to serve you. God bless.